Welcome to Technado with Don Pizzette, featuring sysadmin expert Don Pizzette, security specialist Daniel Lowry, and Peter.
Hello and welcome to Technado with Don Pizzette. I'm your host, Peter Van Rysdam, and I am joined by Don Pizzette this week. Don, how was your vacation?
It was great. You know, we went up into the mountains, had beautiful weather. Kind of nice to step away from technology for a little while, although I did still stay on top of the tech news, so sent some of that over to you.
Yeah, and we saw that, and we have a lot, actually. It's like, I feel like you're making up for last week with the number of stories we're going to get to this
A lot did happen while I was out.
Yeah. It's probably because you were out. And Daniel, how were you today?
I'm very well. Thank you, Peter, for asking. Such a polite young man. Your mother raised you well?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, jerk. I was told if I don't have anything nice to say to Daniel, to not say anything else, so I'll just leave it at that. And we're going to have some fun today. We've got a new segment we're going to try out. We've got a little game we're going to play in a little bit, some tech movie trivia, so play along at home with us. But first, let's start with some tech news. This one is from Ubuntu.com, so I guess their official blog here. Canonical Ubuntu 22.04 LTS is released. What is the LTS?
Long-term support.
Oh, this is the one that we've been talking about. Yeah.
This is it. Yeah, if you run Ubuntu in a production environment, then you are sticking to the LTS releases. They come out every 2 years, so 20.04 has been the one that we've been running since April of 2020. Well, now the new one is out. So it just came out on April 21st. I have had a chance to mess around with it a bit. I've actually been using it in its betas early, so it is honestly probably less impactful than some of the previous releases. Like in 20.04, they just moved away from the Unity interface, and so that kind of freaked out a lot of people. 22.04 adds features, but doesn't really change or remove anything underlying it. So it's pretty safe to move your workloads right over to it. One of the first times where I've said, man, this is something you could ramp into production really, really fast.
Do they do their releases, their naming based on dates, or is that just coincidence? Okay.
Nope, they do. So the 04 is April.
Crazy.
And the 10 is October. So every 6 months they do a release. The October releases are always short-term support, 6 months. The April releases, every other one is a long-term. So that's why we have the even-numbered year .04, that's an LTS. Odd-numbered year .04, that's a short-term support.
And the 22, what does that mean? No,
20.
Month.
That's the caliber.
I wish the camera had been on Don because his face was like, seriously? Okay.
Yeah. I thought, don't we have a IQ test or something?
So, I mean, are you going to roll this out anywhere? I know that you're a fan.
You know, so it's tough because we create a lot of training in our day jobs, and for people that are out there that are going into the job market and stuff, they're still going to be running into 20.04 and even 18.04 for quite some time. So 18.04 will be supported for upwards of 10 years. So it's going to be around for a while. Companies aren't exactly rushing to get on 22.04. So, you know, we'll kind of mess around with it a bit, but it'll take a solid year or two before you really see people jumping on it. The main difference, though, is going to be people with ARM processors. The ARM processor support in 22.04 is significantly better than it was in 20.04. So if you're running Ubuntu on a Raspberry Pi, you'll want to get to 22.04 quickly. Like, it's really got some stuff that's going to make that well, especially if you do like boot off a USB or boot off of some kind of external storage. 22.04 has really good support for that. 20.04 did not. There's a few other little bells and whistles, container support and things that are evolving a little bit. So you certainly want to get to 22.04, but it's not a giant hurry.
I saw that it had like a lot of new cloud support as well. It was like basically trying to get it to where Ubuntu is your Linux system. If you are cloud heavy and need that support, we got you covered kind of thing.
Yeah, they started rolling out NetPlan in 20.04 to make it easy to deploy, and they've doubled down on that now. Now we have multipass where you can quickly spawn up new Ubuntu instances, and it's like pre-configured. Just like if you were to spin up an AWS, an AMI or whatever, it would come up with a basic configuration on it. That's how Ubuntu is designed now. So they've really got all that baked in. They've done a great job with it.
Don has a very popular video on YouTube that is Ubuntu versus Mint, And this will just fuel the conspiracy theorists that think that video was paid for by Ubuntu, as Don continues to push his agenda.
I did notice that there was a time when Don was like, Red Hat this and Red Hat that.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden his bank account got real big and he saw like, Ubuntu's amazing.
Where did the hat go? Wasn't there a hat next to you in that?
I have no idea.
In that little shelf?
It's around here somewhere.
Oh, yeah, it's in the shelf next to you.
I think that was
You can
the
see
thing
it on the
I was-
camera.
Yeah. I mean, I still really like Red Hat, but in this day and age where you want to be able to like auto scale servers rapidly, I just can't see adopting an operating system that requires licensing like that. If Red Hat didn't have the licensing management wrapped around it, which is basically what you have with Alma Linux now, then it would be a much bigger player. But that really kind of damaged them in my eyes.
I've really been trying to work on a joke. Every time you say Alma Linux, I keep thinking of all my exes live in Texas, and I can't think of like all my Linux. I haven't finished it. Yeah. So I'm workshopping it. So send in any ideas if you got them. Yeah, because I'll make the song. I'll do it.
It'll happen.
You're going to record it and everything?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
The threat is real.
The threat.
There's a threat. Yeah.
He's not playing,
Yeah,
everybody.
if you guys aren't nice, I will make that song and make you listen to it. All right, let's take a look at our next article here from Phoronix.com. OpenBSD 7.1 released with Apple Silicon support ready. AMD RDNA 2 graphics. All right, so that means that it's ready to run on an M1 chip?
So, there was a time when Apple had announced the M1 processor and some really big names like Linus Torvalds came out and said, Linux is not going to run on an M1 and it probably never will. Well, turned out he was wrong. The Linux support for the M1 rolled out actually really, really fast. Well, I was surprised to see that OpenBSD has now, they've flagged it. They said, look, our M1 support is now stable enough. It's ready for general release. And so starting with OpenBSD 7.1, which just came out last week, they now have support for it. So you can natively install OpenBSD on a MacBook on an M1 processor. It will run. It actually has support for the bulk of the hardware, not everything, but the bulk of it, what you need. And you can get up and running. They claim to have full support for it. Now, I don't think there's really a great scenario where you'd want to run OpenBSD directly on Mac hardware. Where it's a little more useful is running it in virtualization. So if you use Parallels or something like that on a Mac, well, you still have to run the ARM version. It still has to be compatible with an M1, and that's where this falls in. So if you need an OpenBSD virtual machine, you'll be able to do that really easy.
And OpenBDSM will only run if you ask really nice.
I don't think you asked nice, right?
Yeah.
That's kind of the opposite.
Please, ma'am, will you run?
Mistress Apple, will you please hit me with another stick and let me run on your platform?
I'm certain we're not the first people to make that joke, but that is really funny.
Well, as someone like not as familiar with like something like OpenBSD, that's where my mind goes.
I thought you were going to say someone not as familiar with BDSM.
No, very familiar there. I'm wearing all leather under this.
Yeah, man, I tell you what.
Yeah. I'm being told by that pull on my choke collar means
cigarette burns.
It's time to move on. No, is that all you wanted to cover in that one? I had nothing to add, so I just moved on.
It seems like it's devolving at this point.
It is. They did roll out some extra support for graphics adapters. That's an area where OpenBSD usually falls behind, so it's nice to see that support. But the big thing in OpenBSD 7.1 is support for the M1 processor.
It's a brave new world.
Yeah, it is. It's crazy.
Thank you, Mistress Pizzette. All right. Moving on to our next one from tomshardware.com. Tape storage shipments increased 40% in 2021. Tape storage is dead. Long live tape storage. All right, so I remember tapes. I mean, this was something that, you'd take them off site. They'd be in your trunk all the time, or I guess probably somewhere more secure.
Yeah, better than a trunk.
But I would have thought that's dead with the cloud. Why do we see this increase?
Well, it's kind of interesting. So some people are pitching this as correlating the pandemic. I don't think that's true. I don't think there's a correlation there. There's been a steady increase in basically the sales of physical tape media consistently for the last 10 years. Most people look at tape and think that it's an old and abandoned technology, but it's still something that is very readily used. And there's a few reasons for it. So the first reason is just the sheer amount of data you can fit on a tape. Now, if you haven't messed with tape in a while, you might not realize how much you can stick on there. So, Daniel, you and I, we used to do a ton of tape back when we worked at the insurance company.
Yep.
Did you ever deal with that?
Oh yeah, I did that on a day. That was like when you left, it was like that became my job.
He was the guy with it in his trunk.
Yeah, I was rotating the tapes, making sure the backups were running correctly.
And that's the thing with tape too, is you're always writing over it, right?
Yep.
I mean that's
Yeah,
it's a good resource for that.
After you left, so I had a locker where after a certain amount of time, a set of tapes would get archived, and we would
You say
new
this is
tapes.
our snapshot from this
Right.
date.
And I would label them and make sure that that was.
So where does tape fit in then in that? Because I know things like CDs and DVDs you think of as having a really long lifespan, but they really don't in the grand scheme,
they
right?
suck.
Where does tape fit in that? Is it better?
Thing that was.
Oh yeah.
That thing sucks.
So tape doesn't last forever, and that's why you need to rotate
It's
it. Is
magnetic. It's just
Exactly. It's magnetic media, and there's two things that can damage it, right? So any kind of electrostatic interference can mess with it, but also it's under tension inside of the tape case. So if you drop it, that can cause it to come out of tension, which basically sends static electricity through the whole thing and causes damage. So not only do you need to ship them off site to keep them safe, but they need to be in a padded container. And Daniel, you remember we used to have those big padded containers.
Iron Mountain.
For us, we would fill up a tape easy. Our mission critical server, like some of our database servers, needed more than one tape because back then it was 200 gigs, maybe 400 gigs on a high density tape.
What was the last tape version, the LT version that you used?
So I went on to work for a bank out in Seattle, and we used them out there. And I believe I know we had 800 gig tapes at the time.
I stopped at LT06. That was the last iteration of LT series tapes that I worked with.
Well, so I was just kind of goofing off and did a quick search, and LTO8 is out. So I can see that those are available with.
I thought LTO9 was out.
It might be. I just did a quick search, so it may be. But looking at this LTO8 tape, you can do 12 terabytes uncompressed, 30 terabytes compressed
on one tape,
and that's $500 for that tape.
Oh, here we go. In this article, it says 54 terabytes per cartridge in LTO9.
Is that compressed or uncompressed? It's probably compressed.
It doesn't say. It just says it can achieve a whopping.
But is this slow based on it's got a spin?
Yeah, it's slow. It doesn't. It's on a reel, so it sort of spins. It's a strange way that it works, but the cost and the speed aren't such a big deal. It's really the permanence of it. When you back up to the cloud, if I want to back up 50 terabytes of data to the cloud, I've got to have an internet connection that can handle that, right? A gigabit connection, it's going to take a very long time to upload that up into the cloud. If I go to tape, I may be able to write faster, or I can write all throughout the day and not interfere with my internet connection. The other thing is we can rotate media out, and once you've bought the tape, you own the tape. So you're not paying for storage monthly like you would with AWS. If I back up to S3, let's say I do Amazon Glacier storage, right? Well, every month I'm consuming more and more and more storage. So the bill goes up and up and up unless I start setting some kind of expiration policy, right? So expire old data, make room for new. So you can kind of control it that way. But I had an interesting conversation with a developer, this was several months ago, and they had deployed an app entirely inside of AWS. And I said, okay, well, have you done disaster recovery testing? Like if one region fails, can you redeploy in another region? And they said, yeah, absolutely. It's just click up a button. We've got it all automated. We can redeploy into any region on the globe, and off we go. And I said, okay, well, what if Amazon suspends your account? You hear about it every now and then where somebody's account, they flag you for like violation of terms of service, and then you're just cut off unless you can get on the front page of Hacker News, then that's it. You're out of luck, right? And so I said, well, what if you completely lose access to your AWS account? And they said, well, our backup's in AWS, right? And so if you get locked out of your account, then
have you thought about replicating over to Azure?
and you could do that, but is your infrastructure where it can be redeployed in Azure? Azure's a whole different beast, and so you may not have that.
That's true.
So having a local backup, something that's backed up to tape like that, gives you some protection, and it allows you to store large amounts of data. So there's still value in it. And I know I rattled off a $500 tape a minute ago, but you don't have to go that high. A 6 terabyte tape, this is uncompressed, just straight up a 6 terabyte, is $60. So
that's not bad.
The 12 terabyte was $500, huge jump. So just sticking with, I think it was LTO7, it's not that expensive. And we would have, like at the bank, where the legal department would call down and they would say, you need to hold every backup until we tell you it's okay. Mm-hmm. And we would go like 2 months without being allowed to overwrite a backup tape. And so,
you had to buy some tapes.
We absolutely did. We had lockers full.
Yeah.
And that was just part of the business.
Yeah, and if anything goes wrong, you can use a pencil to tighten that thing up, too. So.
You could put it on there and you spin it around.
Yeah. Are EMPs an issue?
They would be if they existed in any real sense.
I saw Ocean's 11, and it's called a pinch. Yeah.
So the other day I was buying
crack.
I was buying something. I was reading the Amazon reviews, and you know how on Amazon you can post a question and other people can answer.
Other people can say, "I don't know. I gave it as a gift," and you're like, "Well, why'd you answer the question?"
Yeah. And so one person asked the question. They said, "Would an EMP or other electronic device or attack affect this device?" And I thought, oh my gosh, this is what happens when people watch too many movies. Like EMPs don't exist in a practical sense.
Yeah. If an EMP has occurred, you're probably going to die.
Yeah, because it's probably part of like a nuclear explosion.
Yeah.
Or something.
And the human electrical system, your whole nervous system is electrical. Like you will be disrupted. So it was just a dumb thing, but that's what we can thank Hollywood for.
Yeah. Does this jacket help with dinosaur attacks? Would this stand up to it?
Like the Kevlar, is it thick enough for when the velociraptors are getting me in the bushes?
Yeah, because they're pretty smart.
I've seen them velociraptors.
Clever girl.
Now. They are a tricky species.
Clever girl.
Indeed.
Good stuff. All right, we've got a little bit of Microsoft news now to get to over at zdnet.com. Microsoft disables SMB1 file sharing protocol by default in Windows 11 Home. But if you still need it, you can get it. So how do I get it? Do I have to upgrade from Home Edition?
No, I mean, you just have to turn it on, right? Oh. It's not that big of a deal. But
great article then.
Well, so the reason I wanted to talk about this one, because most of us, let's be honest, are not running Windows Home Edition, right? So it's not something that really matters. But we've been hearing a lot about SMB this year. QNAP. The storage vendor, they've had a number of CVEs this year, some high critical stuff, remote code execution that's been a big challenge. And a lot of it has stemmed from their support of SMB version 1. And SMB is server message block. It's the file sharing protocol that Windows uses. And it was created for Windows for Workgroups way back in the day. Didn't we just cover like Windows 3.1 was 30 years old?
Yes, we did.
So that's how old SMB1 is. Like it's been around a long time. Well, QNAP basically put out an announcement saying, hey, if you really want to protect your device, you need to turn off support for SMB version 1. Well, Microsoft disabling SMB version 1 in Windows Home Edition is kind of like that first warning to everybody that, hey,
this is about to go bye-bye.
Yes, absolutely. SMB version 2 is supported by damn near everything, including Linux and macOS. SMB version 3 is still only truly supported by Windows, but macOS and Linux can connect to it. But SMB1, its days are numbered. So you need to take a look at your enterprise infrastructure, your business. If you have things like scanners, copiers, printers that rely on SMB1, because there's plenty of them out there that do, that support is limited. And so as you start looking at your 2023 budget, you need to start putting in money to replace those devices. Just plan for that protocol going away. The time is coming.
So, Don, how's that going to affect people that have invested into hardware that has like embedded systems that are still running SMB1 and can't be upgraded?
Well, what'll happen is like that device will still work, but your Windows machines won't be able to connect to it, right? Or you will have to enable SMB1 on your systems, which Microsoft is really good about leaving the support there. It'll just be off by default. You'll have to turn it on, which means now you're going to be vulnerable. So you've got to put other protections on your network.
I was about to say, would heavy firewalling probably be the way you go with this? So that, like, I only accept SMB connections from a trusted place.
Correct. Yep, gotcha. That would be the way you do it. So it's a little more management on your part, but that's what it would take.
You've invested a lot of money in probably some of these devices. I'm thinking like medical and things of that nature. You're not going to go throw away all your EKGs because you can't update them. SMB1 got turned off.
Yeah, it's important to understand, like, we're not talking about your Plex server at home. Who cares, right? But if it's an MRI and it's using SMB1 to transfer, that's going to be a problem.
Yeah. Okay.
Makes sense.
Good to know.
All right. Well, we've got a lot more news to get to, but let's go ahead and take a quick break, come back, and we'll play our little game. We'll get the new segment coming up right after this on Technado with Don Pizzette.
How do IT leaders stay on top of their game with the IT Pro TV webinar series? Twice per month, IT Pro TV presents a webinar on current topics in the IT world.
What are some of the key things we should be doing in our organization to make sure that we're prepared for disasters and that...
So what do you say we go ahead and get started with today's topic, how to train your end users to
threats. So we're going to talk about some of the major things that you need to do to help keep your people safe while they're working remote.
You can catch IT Pro TV webinars live or watch on demand when your schedule permits. See them all. Visit itpro.tv/webinars today.
So you've tried online IT training, but it's boring, out of date, and pricey. Well, IT Pro TV is always engaging, always fresh, and plans start at just $29 a month. It's online IT training that doesn't suck. Start today at itpro.tv.
I'm James Packer. I'm the General Manager of Kirk ISS based in the Cayman Islands. I used IT Pro TV extensively in my last place. It grew very well, helped upskill the team. I had 110 engineers in the field and we had dozens of IT Pro accounts with the guys training, and last year alone they passed over 40 certs by using the online training. I think I can safely say without IT Pro TV I wouldn't be where I was today because I only got this job on the back of the qualifications I have.
All right, welcome back to Technado with Don Pizzette, and some more news to get to. Next article here is from Ars Technica. Hackers can infect more than 100 Lenovo models with unremovable malware. Are you patched? I'm guessing not. But I don't have a Lenovo. Is that a Lenovo?
No.
I have two Lenovos.
Oh, no. Are either of them patched?
It doesn't matter. They're not affected.
That's the important part, right? Just look that up. So what happened here is a really interesting thing. So with the move to UEFI for BIOS, right? Your BIOS is now like what's burned into a chip on the motherboard. It actually reads from files on the hard drive on your EFI partition when your system boots up. If an attacker can get in and modify that, that's really, really bad because that's loaded before your operating system is even enabled. And so they basically have full control of your system. Well, for a brief period of time, some Lenovo engineers had used some testing drivers that were put on that EFI partition. They were not intended to go out to the public, but unfortunately they slipped into the golden image for those laptops. And so when the laptops were manufactured, they had some slightly buggy drivers, some test drivers that were a part of the EFI package on these systems that went out into production. And so if you purchased one of these, and there's over 100 different models that went out this way, an attacker who has physical access to your machine can insert a payload by exploiting that EFI BIOS and now get it loaded onto the motherboard where you can't remove it, where they've now compromised your system. Now, few things to remember so we don't panic and freak out and think this is nuts is, one, the attacker does have to have physical access, so that kind of limits exploitability. Two, it only affects certain models. 100 models sounds like a lot, but each laptop that Lenovo makes will usually have 8 to 10 different models based on memory and hard drive configurations. So it's not that many systems, but it can be patched. And this is the problem that we have is that most of us are, you know what, I'm not going to say most of us. I'm going to say this is a Don thing. When I get a new Lenovo, I like Lenovo laptops, but the first thing I do is uninstall all the Lenovo crap, right? Because they've got their like automated
bloatware stuff.
Yeah. It's like, remember we used to have the Dell decrapifier software that was like, find all the stuff that Dell does and make it stop.
Johnny Depp needs a decrapifier.
Yeah, I heard.
I thought of that when you said
it's called a divorce in his case.
When you drop a load on the
and then blame it. I like how you know how when the dog, like when you rip a fart and you blame it on the dog, she took it to the next level.
But I heard the other day it was like 4-pound like toy cup.
Like, dang girl, what did you eat?
Yeah, like have you ever pooped your entire body weight once? Because I don't think that's just the dogs. I'm sorry, Don.
Yeah.
Like both of them.
So Don, what did you cover on Technado today? Well, let me tell you.
Sorry.
So very timely reference though.
Thank you.
So you know, in this case, in order to patch it, if you're running the automated Lenovo system monitoring and updating software, then yeah, just probably patch for your system. But a lot of people don't run that. I'm one of them. I remove it. So that means I would have to manually patch it. Now, I'm not so worried about it because I'm not letting somebody get physical access to my system. But in theory, they could. It's in my office.
Like when this article dropped, Wes looks over at me, you know, we're sitting at our desks, and he's like, dude, did you patch? I was like, what are you talking about? He's like, your Lenovo, it needs a patch. I was like, okay. And he gives me the article, and I read it, and I go, here's the thing, brah. if this has happened, I've got worse problems because they've already gained full system access to my laptop.
Do you need a new identity, Daniel?
Yeah, because I'm already done.
Yeah.
This is the least of my worries.
Yeah. But if they do have this access, they can write to the SPI, which is the what was that? Serial Peripheral Interface? What does I stand for? Something like that.
Wes ain't here, bro.
But basically, it's the controller that controls access to all the peripherals on your system. And so once they've got that, they can do anything. Like they really do have full control of the system. And because they've written to those chips on the motherboard, even formatting your system, replacing the hard drive, like they're still in there. So it would be really bad. Could be really bad. Requiring physical access is a problem. If you've got Secure Boot enabled and you've got it locked down, that would stop them from bypassing your OS and protect you. If you don't have that enabled, though, they would have to boot up onto like a flash drive or something to be able to apply their exploit and then compromise it. So, this would be like a Mr. Robot type scenario. They've got to sneak in and all that.
Yeah, just make sure the piece of electrical tape over your webcam is in place. And
so let's say we got infected. How would you remediate that?
Well, in theory, right now, you can't.
Could you go to a different firmware? Could you reinstall like an older firmware?
Well, the theory is that if somebody's gonna, because this is not a in the wild thing just yet, but if somebody were to exploit this, they would likely put protections in there to stop that, to stop what they've written to make it basically unwritable.
Gotcha.
And that's where it becomes unremovable. If they didn't, you could write your own exploit, based on the same exploit, and then put the right firmware back in place. You would have to figure out which chips they wrote to, though, because they could write to just about any chip on the system.
Yeah. And is there working POC, or they just know that there's a flaw, and it's just a matter of time before
just
someone...
POS.
So there is a working POC, but they have not released it, obviously, because it's
pretty sensitive.
Yeah. But what Ars Technica mentioned in their article was that there were only 2 other documented cases of malicious firmware that were being used in the wild, which were referred to as lowjacks.
Gotcha.
But this particular one, I do not believe is in the wild.
All right, so if you've got a Lenovo, take a look at the list. Make sure that you are not vulnerable like Daniel, and if you are, make sure you got the patch or a new identity.
Oh, this says that only 2 other documented cases of malicious UEI firmware. So it's not necessarily this one. It's just
right.
Okay, gotcha.
This is a really rare type of attack.
Yeah.
So the odds of you encountering it are extremely low. It's almost always nation state.
I'm glad you talked me off the ledge because I was about to shoot both y'all in like a preemptive strike and steal all your food.
That is one way to protect.
Because I know this was the end of the world.
just shoot your hard drive.
Yeah.
All right, we've got a new segment. Don made the point that we've seen a lot of technology leave us. I think like Google Wave.
Yeah. If we went back to the beginning of the podcast, we probably reported on all sorts of stuff shutting down.
Yeah. So our new segment is saying goodbye.
It's so hard to say goodbye.
The waving Forrest Gump. For those of you that are listening, we got Forrest Gump waving
he's pretty
at us.
happy about it too.
Well, I think about it now. He's actually waving hello to Lieutenant Dan. So
yeah.
maybe I'll need to rework that. But
Yep.
anyway,
It's a work in progress.
this one is from Apple's blog about macOS Server 5.7.1 and later. I like that headline. Like, hey, about that, we need to talk.
Yeah.
It's like an intervention.
Yeah. So I assume that's what's going away.
Yeah. So the macOS Server app has been on life support for many years. If you're not familiar with it, Apple did something really interesting back in the day. macOS, or it was just OS 10 back then, is really designed as a desktop operating system. But some people needed a server, and they were getting servers from other vendors. So Apple said, well, how about this? We'll release an app. It'll be $20, dirt cheap, and you can install it on macOS, and it'll turn it into a server. And by a server, it added file sharing services, a web server, an email server, a directory for authentication. It was Open LDAP. So it added a handful of services that was something that a smaller medium business would need to have a Mac server in place. Well, over the last, I'll say 5 years, Apple stopped releasing updates for it, and they started removing services. So every time macOS would update, you'd see something else leave macOS Server. And about 3 years ago, they gutted the thing until all it had left was Profile Manager. Profile Manager was like a mobile device manager that would let you control the applications that were installed, or remote wipe a machine, and so on. But after that, it's been pretty much just abandoned. They finally came out and announced macOS Server is dead. So that's it. They've ended support for it. some of the more popular services that were in it, like the caching server for updates and the file server portions, those have moved into the base macOS operating system, so they're still there. But other things like the directory service, the web server, those are gone. No replacement put in place. And they recommend a few other products that are out there, but it's all third-party stuff. So Apple's basically saying, that's it. There is no macOS server anymore. There is only macOS desktop.
Was a lot of people using macOS server? Like, what was the market share on that?
I don't know what the market share was, because like the market share for Apple in general is like less than 5%.
Pretty small, yeah.
Yeah. So the server is got to be even smaller. And if it's just $20 for an app, like they were not making money on this. But for small and medium businesses, it was a good alternative. So there were people using it, but they just decided the effort of supporting it was not enough. And we kind of saw the writing on the wall a while back when Apple stopped updating the certification, because they had a certification based around supporting the server app. And when they stopped updating that, that was when you knew, like, all right, they're getting rid of this, and now's the time. And they didn't stop there. They announced a couple of cancellations. Another one was Fleetsmith. Fleetsmith was another mobile device manager, which they acquired a couple of years ago. I don't remember when they acquired it, but basically it allowed you to manage your iPad, iPhone, desktops. I think originally it did Windows machines also, but I don't know that they continue to support that.
So was that a third party?
So it was a third party. Apple acquired them.
Okay.
And so it's been Apple Fleetsmith for several years, and now they've announced they're discontinuing that. So Profile Manager was their on-prem MDM solution. Fleetsmith was another MDM solution. Those are both gone. And so all we're left with now is like the Apple Business Manager and all the school tools. So they want you to move to their cloud services, which are like annual contracts. You have to have purchase agreements set up. And that's basically all they're choosing to support now. Because, Apple's big in the education space.
I've heard that. Yeah, we got to check in with who was the Apple guy we had on recently.
Steve Jobs.
Yeah, that's who it was. Yeah.
No, he would have some good feedback.
I mean, he stunk like hell.
Justin Escar.
Yeah, because his MSP service was all built around supporting Macs, and so it'd be interesting to see what he's doing for servers. Because you can install Homebrew on a Mac, and then you can load Apache, you can load OpenLDAP, like you can turn your Mac into a server using third-party stuff. I just don't know how reliable that would be in production. It was nice knowing Apple supported it.
All right. Well, rest in peace to those, and sorry if you're using that.
All four users are
find
pouring one out for their homie right now.
You'll be okay.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to play a little game here. Do I have...
This ain't like that game before, is it?
Which game?
You know, the one I'm not supposed to talk about.
I know. I'm still chewing 2 packs of gum a day.
Oh man, that's
all right. So here's what we're gonna do in this game. I'm gonna play some sounds, some clips from famous cybersecurity / computery kind of movies.
Oh, you didn't tell me they were gonna be tech movies.
Oh yeah. What do you think? I'm just gonna.
Don doesn't watch tech movies.
I know. I'm gonna do terrible at this. I hate tech movies.
Technado.
All right. Well, we'll see what happens.
And so
Frying green tomatoes.
Yeah. What does she say when she drives the car into the?
Dude, it's been like forever and a day since I've seen that movie. To one.
I don't even know. There's okay. Anyway.
All right. Good story.
You'll write down what movie you think it is, and I will apply points based on that.
Yeah. Make sure I can see and cheat off of you. Don.
Let's do the first. The first 4 are easier. The second 4 are harder. So I'll do 100 points each for the first 4. 200 points each for the second 4.
I'll be happy if I can get one.
I want to make sure, Don, you can't see. Don't read my screen here. No, well, I'm not going to.
I cannot read that, no.
Yeah.
Perfect.
I got LASIK done. My right eye is my reading eye, and that's
Don't
too
look
far
at this
away.
with
Unless you could just lower the brightness. And
not going to happen.
It's super hard to see.
Not look.
We're talking about things that are in the realm of possibility.
Another option.
Not looking is not an option.
All right. So if you guys have both written down your answers, I don't need to play the whole clip. But let's go ahead and start with number 1 here.
We're in. It thinks I'm Falcon.
Okay, they both that
Hello.
was the thing that got them both going there.
All right.
How can it ask you that?
It'll ask you whatever it's programmed to ask you.
Okay, I know that.
You want to hear it talk?
Yeah.
How do I stop these, Caleb?
I'll ask you how it feels.
You can't stop it. No, we're stuck.
Again. Let's see if it plays again.
You can get the whole movie now? Is that?
Oh, it stops. It
okay.
stops.
All right.
Fantastic. All right, Don, what you got?
I got War Games.
War Games, Daniel?
War games.
War Games. All right, let's give you each 100 points. Fantastic. So, yeah, that's how the game works. And put the easiest one off the bat to
Yeah, that was a softball. That was
All right, let's take a look at number 2 here.
Well, you have been virus, Mr. DePina, and a not so very nice one.
You are the best. I knew I could count on you. So what should we do?
Well, don't think about hitting the escape key on any of your systems for a while. One keystroke will wipe out your whole system.
God, I don't know how these things happen. You know, I just ordered that security program last week. What's it called?
Gatekeeper?
Well, that's what they all say.
I have
Did
no
you install
idea.
it?
Absolutely.
What was that really bad Sandra Bullock movie where she was like a
Not to
cat
worry, everything's
lady?
under control. It's
It
gonna
was
be
what
okay.
Daniel has said.
All right, I couldn't remember the name of it, so...
This is, of course,
Is it The Net?
The Net.
All right, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so I knew the movie, I just didn't know the name.
Yes, I don't know if that counts as knowing.
No.
No, it doesn't count.
But we'll go with that. All right, so Daniel now is in the lead, 200 points to 100.
If you'd have
points.
wrote that crazy cat lady Sandra Bullock movie,
would've
I
given
think we would have accepted it.
I would have given him that. Yeah.
Yep.
All right, next up, here we go.
Why did he come to you?
I got a record.
Wow,
I
Daniel
was
already-
zero cool.
Zero cool. Crashed 1,507 systems in one day. Biggest crash in history. Front page New York Times, August 10th, 1988.
No idea
I
on
thought
this
you
one.
was black, man. Yo, man, this is zero cool.
Daniel, you want to show us yours?
I have no idea.
This is zero cool,
Hackers.
man. Oh.
The first voice you heard there, that was, of course,
You know how many times I've seen that movie?
Daniel, who was the first voice you heard? The lady?
The lady?
Yeah.
I didn't memorize where we were at.
It's Angelina Jolie.
Well, there were other women in the
I
movie.
don't think
I didn't.
Not that I noticed.
Wasn't paying attention to who spoke first.
I think we're learning a lot about Peter today.
This next one is I really like this movie. Here we go.
Let me turn this thing up.
What do you want, Mr. Bishop?
Clear up my record. Get out of my life.
Daniel's writing.
I don't have much choice, do I?
Not unless you want to read about it in Newsweek.
Deal.
You recognize the
The
one
box.
voice, right?
Not so fast.
I already know the movie.
Yeah. I'm just trying to help Don at this point.
I want to win a bagel.
What?
All right.
Dan Aykroyd there.
Fully equipped.
Oh, I'm
Big
totally
kitchen,
wrong then. I'm
waterbed,
just guessing.
All right, what do you got?
I guessed sneakers.
Sneakers is correct.
Oh, it is.
And Sneakers from Daniel as well. Yeah, that was James Earl Jones, then what's his name? Robert Redford, then
Okay.
Dan Aykroyd. Dan Aykroyd was like the...
I thought I recognized Robert Redford. I didn't know Dan Aykroyd was in sneakers.
Yeah, he's kind of like the goofy...
They call
wearing,
him
like
Mother.
coveralls. Yeah, it's called Mother.
Yeah.
All right.
Great cast. Wasn't it? Is that River Phoenix? Is he the kid?
Was it River Phoenix?
I'm not sure.
Man, I don't know.
Yeah, it's kind of like a Christian Slater looking dude.
All
right.
Did you hear seagulls?
It seems like River Phoenix is right, though.
All right, those were the easy ones. Done.
Okay.
Of which you got half.
All right.
Daniel is 4 for 4 so far. So let's move on.
I don't watch TV.
To round 5.
I've only ever heard the movies.
I'm not a bad guy. I know that. When there's emotional testimony, I assume 85% of it is exaggeration.
And the other 15?
Perjury. Creation myths need a devil.
Daniel's got it, he thinks.
All right.
What happens now?
Cy and the others are having a stake on University Avenue. Then we come back
I'm
up to the
guessing, but
office
we'll go with
and
it.
start working.
All right,
I'm not a
Don,
bad
what do you
guy.
got?
I'm guessing swordfish.
No,
No?
it is, of course, The Social Network, as Daniel has put there.
I have not seen that one.
If I had let it run a little bit longer, but you guys had both written it, he says, look, I own Facebook.
Oh, that would have.
I don't know.
I'll teach you to go early, right?
I don't know if Don would have gotten that with that anyway. All right. This one's
Why would you put that part in if it's a game?
Because Don can't get anything. Yeah. Trying to help the guy out.
Even it's like
and that's
the
not the name of the
Facebook
movie. That's not the name of the movie.
Yeah, that's true.
He
That's
called
true.
the net the cat lady movie.
That's true.
I was like, that the new
Facebook.
Batman? Right. Here we go.
Look, like this one. 0600 hours, weather today is clear, rain in the evening, Heil Hitler.
Wait, what? This is a family podcast.
Exactly. They send a weather report every day at 6 a.m. So that's 3 words we know will be in every 6 a.m. message. Weather, obviously, and...
Heil bloody Hitler.
Heil bloody Hitler.
I'm just not saying that.
Message from this morning.
I guess I don't know the name of this one.
Swordfish again.
The
No.
right-hand letter wheel. Set them to... I know. Well, that's
Just-
Peter John. Run...
They made some movie about breaking the Enigma machine, right? Is that what this is?
They did, and I assume that Daniel had The Imitation Game.
Ah,
is the name of that movie.
all right.
Alan Turing.
Might have seen the movie trailer for it. I definitely didn't
You
see
didn't
the
see
movie.
Good movie.
No.
Good movie.
I really do
I don't
hate
know if you
technology
remember
movies.
back in the day when me, you, and Charlie used to hang out all the time. Charlie and I had a standing, like every day somebody would write on his whiteboard a movie quote. And the rules were, if you had seen it once, you were responsible for knowing the quote.
Wow.
And yeah, we were strong at playing that.
All right, well, don't worry, Don, because these next two are each worth 1,000 points.
Are they both from Conan?
Yeah, that's right.
Do we have to
Those
know if
technology
is it-
movies.
Is it Conan the Barbarian or Conan the Destroyer, or is it the newer one? with,
Conan the Hacker.
It's Vigo the Carpathian.
There we go. Got it.
All right, here we go.
You want something from me, and I want something from you. DoD, D-base, 128-bit encryption. What do you think? Impossible?
Nothing's impossible.
Good. So it can be done? Maybe slide in a Trojan horse hiding a worm?
Something like that. Is this an interview?
Sort of.
Writing
Marco.
initials.
Ready.
Yep.
Let's give him some incentive.
I think I'm ready with my guess.
Well, let's let Daniel go first and tell you what it is. Swordfish.
Oh, that one's swordfish.
Which you wrote
That was
earlier.
burned
That's what I
yep.
thought you'd get it. What?
No, I
what-
was
what-
going Mission Impossible, right? Because
Impossible.
doesn't he break into the DoD to get the undercover agents?
I'm sure he does.
Listen, this is all these movies are where I learned my hacking skills.
Yeah,
Right,
yeah, that
so-
was Hugh Jackman
Yeah.
and John Travolta.
My neighbor.
So you're saying that all your hacking
not Hugh
skills are
Jackman.
crap?
What's that?
Not Hugh Jackman, but
Not
John
Hugh,
Travolta.
John Travolta. Yeah, he does. He does live like 2 miles from.
Yeah. All right, and our last and final one, which is worth 30,000 points. I don't know if either of you are going to get this, honestly.
Can't let you do it, Joe. Yes, me.
Wow,
You did this. You cut the network connections, but I'll find a way out. All this power isn't meant to be in the hands of one person. You're
Well, that must mean I'm right. Can't show Daniel now. I don't want to.
All right, Daniel, what do you got? Lawnmower
Oh,
Man.
I got Lawnmower
It is
Man.
Lawnmower
Yep.
Man for both of you. So Don gets the 30,000 points, but it doesn't matter because
Daniel did too.
has 30,000 and more.
Sadly, maybe this says something about me. I don't think of Lawnmower Man as a technology movie, but
well, it was like VR.
But it
like
really
becomes the
is.
computer.
Yeah.
See, I thought you'd give me pushback on the imitation.
You ready
game
for
a little
this?
bit more.
You ready for this one?
Yeah.
I've never seen Lawnmower Man.
Really?
You haven't?
And how did you know that then?
Because I'm that good.
Did you look up right before this top computer movies? Because that's what I searched for.
No, I did not. I didn't
find
even
that
know.
list.
I didn't even know we were playing this game.
All right. Wow. I'm
Yeah,
impressed.
I should have done that. But yeah, so at the end of the day, when I go home, I generally like I do mess around with technology. I experiment with new versions of
Drugs.
operating systems. But when I sit down and watch a movie, I don't want to watch a movie where I just can't do the suspension of disbelief thing.
Yeah.
And so I
And
never
those
watch
movies
hacker
were bad.
movies.
Yeah, because like the net when they're flying around, or the hackers they're flying.
Here's
around.
the thing, though, is like a lot of those movies came out when we were kids.
Yeah.
We didn't know yet.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. You weren't like knee deep in technology every day like you are now.
That's true.
So,
But
but we're responsible for
same
knowing.
ways. You know what I watched last night?
What's that?
Iron Eagle.
Oh, that movie
That
rocks.
popped up on.
That was worth a watch,
HBO
wasn't it?
Max, and I was like, oh man, it's been a
That
while.
did not hold up to the test of time.
So you know what? I disagree.
Yeah?
I disagree. I think that movie is still really good. It definitely has that like 80s kind of thing going where, nobody knew anything about anything, so you could get away with whatever the hell you
So
felt
you can
like.
launch a missile while the plane is still on the ground?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Right?
And you
Not
can
like
land
there's
the plane
logic
and
gates.
pick up somebody.
Yeah,
Come on.
But like just the story behind it and the fun of it, I think is still really good.
Yeah.
What I loved is how many things blew up in massive explosions from bullet fire.
Oh yeah,
Like a tent. I watched a tent explode.
So you ready for this? They pitted the F-16 against the F-35 and they beat it.
Really?
So the jets that they're flying in 1980 whatever when Iron Eagle came out, which we still use, the F-16,
yeah.
beat the pants off of the modern
Wow.
jets.
Technology is great.
Yeah.
Nice. All right, well, let's take a look at our last article for the day and find out who it is that got pwned.
Looks like you're about to get pwned.
Fatality.
Yeah!
All right, this article comes to us from Naked Security. Critical cryptographic Java security blunder patched. Well, it's critical, so I'm glad that they did that.
Funny story how it happened. You know, they were baking some cookies. The next thing you know, there was some bad Java code got pushed out.
It happens.
So,
they called it a blunder. Like,
oops. Yeah. Oopsie daisy.
Daniel, do you remember the old days when like Java exploits were coming out every week and it was a freaking nightmare to maintain Java?
I thought Java was just like a backdoor for hackers.
Basically, but we all had the Java runtime environment installed. Everybody had that little coffee cup in their system tray, and you had to have it. So many applications and websites relied on Java. We don't hear about it so much anymore, and that's because everybody got burned so bad on it, they moved away. But it is still out there. There are still critical enterprise workloads that are run on Java because of the billions and billions of dollars that were invested in it over the years. So in order for us to hear about a Java exploit today, it's got to be a pretty bad one.
Yeah.
And this one is pretty bad. So deep down in the black, cold heart of Java, it has various authentication mechanisms where it can test to make sure that code is signed properly and execute some of the bug protections they put in there. Well, somebody made a mistake. And with their algorithm for testing to make sure a signature is valid, they didn't account for zero values. And so if somebody presents a zero value in response to one of their queries, it sees the zero, it runs a hash, the hash is a zero based on the way that they're handling elliptic curve. It's a match, it's a pass. And so anybody can imitate anybody else, and Java wouldn't know about it. It completely blows a hole in all of the verification that Java is able to do.
So this means this has been around for all time in Java?
You know, did it say?
I don't think it said.
It didn't say which. It probably has been around.
Article, it's just one of those where it just took someone to. Yeah, just like I do with the security and the terms of services.
I want to find out now when it was introduced.
Yeah, because otherwise you'd have to kind of go back and check in each new
back
version.
Back to 2017, it says.
Okay.
Yeah, they've patched Java 7, 8, and 11. Even though like 7 and 8 aren't fully supported anymore.
That shows you how bad something is if they're going back and patching unsupported versions.
Yeah, well. So this is a pretty bad one. The Naked Security guys did a great write-up on it if you want to see how it works and all. The original researcher who found it gave it a name. It was, what was it, Psychic...
Psychic Memory?
Psychic Signatures. There we go.
That's it.
Which was a joke based on the Doctor Who psychic paper. I don't know if you guys ever watched Doctor Who, but he would walk into a building or whatever, and he would say, "I'm so-and-so with the health department." And he would hold up a wallet with blank paper. But it was psychic paper, so people would see it and say, "Oh yeah, you're with the health department, or you're with the FBI."
That's funny.
And so he said, "That's how this is. Like you can hold up whatever credential you want,
and you're in.
And because of the flaw in how the signatures are tested, it'll pass. It will just blindly believe that you are whoever you say you are." So this one's really bad. This is a bad one. They pushed an update out for it. If you use Java in your environments, or if you just happen to have it installed, you absolutely 100% need to patch right away. This one is pretty bad. Not seen in the wild yet, but it's only a matter of time because the write-ups that I've seen do explain exactly how to leverage this, and that means if I've seen it, then you know the nefarious actors have.
Yeah, so that was my question. It's not just the people that can say, "Oh, I wrote my program in Java, I need to do something," but if I've got Java still running on my computer, I'm at risk as well.
Yeah, I mean, imagine you go to some website. You do a typo by accident. It's got some embedded Java in it. Hopefully your browser's protecting you from that. Hopefully you've got host-based intrusion prevention software or whatever that protects you. But if not, Java's not going to protect you.
So if I had Java and Flash running, which would kill me first?
I don't know if there's. You think there's like contemporary bugs for Flash running around?
Well, I'm sure the old ones are still out there, right?
Like, I mean, are they? I mean, when's the last time you saw a Flash player fly?
It's been a long time.
Yeah, it's been a hot minute.
So this is a total tangent, but my nephew was visiting a few months ago, and I wanted to show him Strong Bad Email.
Oh man,
no way!
You remember the Strong Bad Email? And I used to love it when a new Strong Bad would come out. It was Flash, and so you didn't just watch the video; like you'd have to float your mouse over it because there'd be Easter eggs hidden throughout, right? Well, now you don't have Flash anymore, and so I had to show him the Strong Bad stuff on YouTube. And
you're hoping the person moved their mouse?
No, so all the Easter eggs are gone now. And so all the funny little jokes that were hidden in it, we've lost that. And it's just because we wanted to keep our system secure, which is
that sounds stupid as hell.
At what price? At what price?
Yeah. I mean,
what's the?
I have heard of people like going, "Oh, so you found hackers in my system? I mean, are they doing anything bad?"
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they're crypto mining. Is that causing me any kind of problem? Well, I mean, no, they're using your CPU. Well, hell, let them do it.
Yeah, are those same people go, I got lice, but what's bothering me?
Ain't hurting nobody. Kind of tasty.
Yeah. If I can feed another living thing.
Yeah. Who might have stopped?
Yeah.
Man's just trying to get by.
This episode has been all over the place.
Yeah.
We have talked about. We've gone from Johnny Depp to lice.
Yeah, this is why we got rid of guests.
I want to see someone mind map this episode.
We could have never talked about Yorkies, dropping a grumpy, as Johnny Depp called it. In testimony, he called it dropping a grumpy.
Oh my goodness!
What is that even? All right.
Ask Amber to come over. She'll show you.
Some people are calculating the speed of an unladen swallow.
Sure.
We're trying to calculate the output of a corgi
versus a 110-pound woman.
Versus a mediocre actress.
Yeah, pretty girl.
Yeah, pretty girl.
Weird as hell.
I only know her from Zombieland. I think is the only thing.
Well, that's right. She died like immediately.
Who was she?
But
in
she
Zombieland?
didn't die.
Oh, she became a zombie.
Remember? No. She just had that food poisoning. She was in Zombieland too.
Oh, that's right.
Oh, I haven't made it. I got halfway through
I
Zombieland too.
forgot.
Oh well, then she doesn't come back.
Wasn't very good.
Yeah.
Damn. I didn't think it was very good.
It wasn't as good as the first one, but it was.
It didn't have Bill Murray in it. That's
it's important.
But later on they reference, you pulled a Murray.
Yeah.
They're like, that's a.
Hey, referencing Murray and having Murray, two different things.
Yeah.
Did they not? Did they have that whole clip about the Garfield movie press junket at the end of that though?
I didn't see.
I think that's at the end of. I think no. I'm saying in Zombieland. I think it's Zombieland 2, where they have Bill Murray come back for a cameo at the very end.
Maybe I missed.
They show the day that the outbreak happens, and Bill Murray's on the press junket for Garfield, Garfield 2 or something, and the reporter starts to attack him, and he's beating people with chairs. Oh, you got to find that scene.
I have to see this.
You got to wait till the end of Zombieland 2.
Yeah, because as soon as it was over, it was like, okay, that's done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, check that out. It's a good scene.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
All right. Other things to check out after you watch that and old Homestar Runner Strong Bad videos. We've got another webinar coming up. What is Azure Bicep? How to use the power of Azure Bicep to work with you.
The dumbest name for anything.
It really is. I'm like, is this right? Is this a typo?
Yeah,
This can't be right.
I thought it was like an acronym, and I was talking to Adam, and he's like, no, it's just the name of it.
Just wait till next month when Microsoft Azure glutes come out.
Yeah.
So is Bicep something that...
When is Deltoid hitting us?
Yeah. Bicep something that is flashy but doesn't really do as much as people think?
It's interesting technology. It's just a weird name.
Gotcha. All right, this is taking place Thursday, May 5th with Adam Gordon and Wes Bryan. Head over to itpro.tv/webinars. You can register for that one. Oh, I've got a thing here. Yeah. Head over to itpro.tv/webinars where you can sign up for that. And you can see all the archived webinars as well and learn more about them. And then take a moment and head over to technado.com. You can see our latest episodes, audio or video. You can purchase some swag, learn more about the team behind the team. You can also send in some viewer mail. Let us know what you want to see us talk about more. And you can click the big orange button that says sponsored by IT Pro TV, and you can get a 30% off coupon code for the lifetime of your personal membership to IT Pro TV. You can also, I know, it's big stuff. You can also request a team trial and find out all the great features available to teams, 2 or more, from IT Pro TV as well, like the Pro Portal and all that good stuff.
I just thought it meant multiple teams, not just 2 people in a team.
No, people that use Microsoft Teams.
I thought it was an A-team trial. I thought I'd get to drive the van or something.
Hannibal.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
Because you're afraid of flying.
I love it when a plan comes together.
Such a good show.
It just shows that every problem can be solved by welding armor onto your van.
Damn right it can.
I did see there's a van on Main Street at one of the car lots that is painted.
Like the AT.
Oh, that's cool.
And it's like I'm old enough, where I drive by and go, well, maybe. But no, I'm not kidding. What am I going to do with that?
Yeah,
but it's kind of cool. But if there's a DeLorean,
you're going to buy a bunch of stinking gold chains.
I will get one.
Oh, have you been to the place down in Naples?
No.
Down in Naples, Florida, down in South Florida, there's a place where they restore DeLoreans. They've got like 12 of them on the lot.
Wow.
We went there last year just to look.
Well, I know someone bought the DeLorean brand and it's kind of
They have all the extra stock and everything. They
are
still selling DeLoreans, from what I understand. They can put one together for you if you want to buy it.
From what I hear, though, it's a terrible car in terms of actually running.
Yes.
What I would like is if somebody takes old DeLoreans and maybe like electric converts them. That would be cool.
Oh, that would be rocking.
Because I'd get one of those.
They probably weigh too much though. That all metal frame.
That could be. Yeah.
One day.
I saw somebody did like a modernized version of the DeLorean. They built one. And it was really cool.
Like
Look it
not
up on
based on
YouTube.
actual DeLorean, but just something.
No, it was based off of oh, you mean like the actual frame and body and everything? No, they built it from scratch.
Their own thing.
Yeah, from the ground up. They made a concept and then they built it. It was pretty rocking looking. Yeah.
All right, so I have to check that out. You guys have to watch Bill Murray at the end of Zombieland.
We've all got homework.
/ Garfield 2, and you have to catch up on all. That makes no sense up now. I didn't push that.
You know what doesn't make any sense?
Why
you have that makes no sense.
Yeah. Anyway, there's Technado again. But thanks everybody for watching. We'll see you next week right here on Technado with Don Pizzette.